Hi, my name is Krishan, and I welcome you to my channel, A Lifetime Gift. So I know for the past couple of months, I feel like every time I made a video, I shared that there had been some life changes in my life, and I had been meaning to do this video to share with you all what this life change or these life changes, what they have been. And once again, and I shared that time has not been on my side. And it's just been difficult with trying to create a video where I can sit down and just share everything and also try to put out videos sharing the stories that I've been wanting to share. So the first life change was that I left my job. I resigned from my job actually at the end of March. And this was something that God placed on my heart to do. And it was something I was actually going back and forth with for some time. Everything changed once I had my third son, which is so interesting because when we found out we were pregnant with baby number 3, I was not that happy or excited, if I'm 100% honest. And that was because at that time, I felt like it was just the wrong time. There was things that I had planned and things that I wanted to do that I felt that if a baby comes in, that's just going to mess up everything. But the crazy thing is that don't get me wrong, baby changed everything, but in a good way. And it actually like flipped everything around. Whereas I was so very much trying to like move and grow within my career, and even debating, I was thinking about going back to school. Well, I did go back for a hot second with back to school because I thought in my mind that, if I'm on maternity leave, this is a great time to start taking, classes. I was thinking about going back and getting my MPH, so taking classes. I don't just want to take one class, let me take 2. That didn't last too long. Trying to be home with the newborn and then also be home with the toddler. And at this time, this was still during COVID, and my oldest son was home actually still doing school. So it was a lot. I don't know what I was thinking. It's just the type of how I sometimes put more on me than what I should, and I'm trying to learn how to cut back in doing that. But within that time period of being home with my newborn and also with my toddler, it showed me how much passion and love I still have for teaching children. Even though I am a lactation consultant, I don't get to do too much with children. And so it's always been my passion to be able to combine the two of my love of lactation and education and also early childhood education. And that early childhood education, that teaching truly came back when I was on maternity leave and being home with my son and being able to teach him. And it was truly a blessing. So when it was time to return to work, I struggled. I struggled at work. My coworkers saw it. I feel like the moms that I work with were able to pick up on it. I'm calling to check in on them, and they can hear my voice, I may have been crying right before I called them, and they're like, "Girl, are you okay?" And that's what's so great about my job, with my job, and how much I did enjoy it, is the type of relationships I was able to build with the moms, and just how understanding they were, because we were the same boat in a way, with being mothers and being mothers of babies and breastfeeding and trying to juggle life, whether you're working or not, it's hard. And so I struggled, and to a point where it was just like it was getting extremely hard for me trying to juggle everything, and the lack of sleep I was getting, and the commute to and from work was getting to me, and to a point where I had to seek like a therapist and start talking to someone, which was such a blessing to have, because then that also allowed me to have a little bit of time somewhat to myself, to really think about some of the thoughts I was having, and to kind of bounce it off someone else to really understand what I'm feeling and what maybe, and what God was telling me to do. And so after a while, I felt on my heart that He was saying it was time to go. And once again, it wasn't because I didn't like my job. It wasn't because I didn't like my coworkers or manager. Like, I love them. They're like family. And the fact that they didn't want me to leave, or even my manager didn't want me to leave and was trying to keep me, and how she was trying to be very flexible with me, actually made it even harder to make that decision to go, because I even started contemplating, like, okay, maybe if I don't leave altogether and just maybe work part-time. And when I started to think that and pray upon that, I remember literally the next day, I remember reading, it was like a devotion, or it was something like that. And I remember seeing delayed obedience is still disobedience. And I saw that actually like throughout the week in other places. And I'm like, okay, if God is telling me to move now, move now. And so it wasn't easy. Of course, I'm thinking like the financial piece, all of that, comes into play. But I knew I felt peace with the decision that I made and how I felt. And that this is what God was telling me to do. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that I haven't had moments where I'm just like, all right, I go back and start thinking like, am I sure I heard correctly? But I know that I did. And I'm so grateful for this time that I've had to be home with my sons. It hasn't been easy at all. Like I said, I have 3 boys ranging from ages from 11 to 1 right now. And so they all have different needs, and they're boys. So they're very, very busy, and they take, of course, a lot of my energy. But once again, I wouldn't trade this time. I wouldn't trade this time for anything. And I'm just so grateful God has brought me home to spend time with them and to be present for them, because that's what I was starting to feel like I wasn't being present for them, because I was putting so much time into my work. I work hard. I'm very passionate about what I do. And so there will be times where I may stay late at work, or if I'm working from home, I'm going to still work over my time, which I know that it's not the best thing to do. And I've had many people tell me that, Kashar, I need to stop doing that. But that's just the type of worker that I've always been. But on the flip side of that, my family suffers, and in a way I suffer, because that's once again time that I could be even doing something for myself. And so I'm learning and trying to do a better job of my time, even though it doesn't look like that, especially with me with these videos. But honestly, I'm trying to put my family first. And now I also know I need to work on putting myself first. That's something else I'm working on. So that was the big change. And I don't want this video to become super long about really the whole process, because it was a process I felt like that I went through. It wasn't like I just woke up one day and it's like, God said leave, let's go, and I put in my resignation the next day. No, it was a long process of praying, of fasting, and asking my husband to pray as well, and making sure that it wasn't just me going off of feelings. It was something that, is this something that you're hearing God tell you also? I just didn't want to make that decision on my own, because it didn't just affect me if I chose to leave my job. So like I said, I'm grateful to have this time, and this is the reason why I have not been able to create as many videos or to upload videos, is because I am home with these children and they are busy, and my son is in camp, and so just every single day taking him to and from camp, and then having the younger 2 and keeping them busy and teaching them, and trying to do different things with them. It's that's where my time is. That's where what I'm doing. And so it's very hard to sometimes get moments like this where I can sit here and record a video without them like screaming in the background or them playing in the background, because I just don't want that to be something that can be distracting, not only to you but also to me. But that was my big change in life. Then a second change came that we found out recently, is that we are expecting baby number 4. And so this is still something that I am still wrapping my head around, because there is a part of me where I'm like, Lord, you see that I'm like barely making it as far as with my energy, with these three. You're giving us a fourth one. And I know children are a gift from God. But, I'm grateful. And I'm grateful to be home during this time while pregnant. Even though, like I said, my energy is not the same, and especially while trying to take care of three little ones. But once again, I'm just grateful for this time. I'm grateful for this season. And I will try my hardest to continue to keep up with videos, uploading the stories, like I said, once again, that God has placed on my heart. Another big thing is that this is August. It is National Breastfeeding Month. And so I do plan to share more children's books about breastfeeding, and also share some blog posts about National Breastfeeding Month, about other children's books that are out there. Some I do plan to highlight. Well, I just said that, but yes, I do plan to highlight throughout this month, and I'll definitely share those links in the description box. And there were other videos that I want to do highlighting breastfeeding, as far as even sharing what my journey has been with breastfeeding. And I've had 3 different journeys, and there of course have been 3 totally different experiences, or even my journey in becoming a lactation consultant. I wanted to even do a video about WIC breastfeeding peer counselors, because that's how I started out, and I'm so grateful for that opportunity in becoming a WIC breastfeeding peer counselor, because it was life-changing for me. And it's so interesting when I always think back about when I was offered the job. I remember just being so confused, because I'm like, well, what is that? What is it? And I remember, because this was back in 2012, and I remember going online trying to like Google what is a WIC breastfeeding peer counselor, and I remember just finding like nothing. I remember like finding maybe one woman's blog about her experience as a breastfeeding peer counselor, and it was just like maybe one little piece about it, and that's all I had to go off of. But I took that step of faith, and left the job that I did have at the time, which was more in the field of my background of early childhood education, and stepped out there and got into the lactation field by becoming a breastfeeding peer counselor. And I'm so grateful for that experience, because it's truly shaped who I am. Who I am, I believe, and then also who I am as a lactation consultant. So I can't promise anything. Maybe at some point I will create a video about my experience as a breastfeeding peer counselor, what a breastfeeding peer counselor is, or even my journey, which I don't know if I said or if I didn't say already. It's pregnancy brain. I'm so sorry. But my experience even becoming a lactation consultant, because that was a whole process also. So there's so much that I want to share, and it's like I don't want to promise anything, but it would be good to know if this is something that you would be interested in knowing about my journey, whether it's my breastfeeding journey, whether it's my journey within the lactation field with breastfeeding peer counselor. What is it? My experience within becoming a breastfeeding peer counselor. I've been a breastfeeding peer counselor in 2 different WIC agencies in 2 different states, and so that has also been, once again, 2 different experiences. But once again, they all shape me in who I am, and also who I am as a lactation consultant. So once again, I don't want to make this video too long, but that's what these changes have been in my life, is that I left my job back in March because God placed it in my heart to do so. And my plan was to, of course, be home with my children, but also I wanted to put more time into these videos, which I had not really been doing because I've been putting more time into my children. And then to the fact that we found out we are expecting baby number 4. And so that's a true blessing. Like I said, that I'm still trying to wrap my head around, but I know that God is going to take care of my family and I, and take care of me during this pregnancy. And I know that that's what I need to focus on most of all. So I will try my hardest with getting stories and videos out. And if there's anything that you all would like for me to maybe make a video on, I was even debating, should I somewhat document this experience of, because more than likely this will be the last one, but document somewhat of this journey in my pregnancy and in, I don't know about so much delivery, but at least maybe sharing about it, because the plan is to do a home birth. I've had my first son in the hospital, my second son in a birthing center, my third son was a home birth, and we're going the route of a home birth again. And once again, with each one of those experiences, they've been completely different. So that's something else I could also do a video on. So I'm all over, I've had so many ideas, but I know time is the most important thing, time is the most important thing that I really need when it comes to trying to share all of these things. But it would be good to know what you all are interested in, learning more about me or learning more about some of the experiences I've had with, whether if it's within my career, whether it's within motherhood, whether if it's in the pregnancy and the delivery experiences that I have. I'm interested in knowing. So the option to comment will be open. I know with all the other videos I do, because they're stories, they're kid stories, I don't really I don't open those, and plus I put them under kids, so it doesn't allow comments. But for this video, comments are open, and I'm just interested in knowing what you'll be interested in. But thank you so much for checking in and seeing what these updates were and what changes I've had in my life, and I hope to share some of those throughout this new journey of me being home, and then also with this new pregnancy. And I just thank you. So if you want to learn more about what I do, like I said, let me know in the comments, and I hope to see you soon.